Business is booming at the Classic Industries storefront in Huntington Beach, California. Founder and CEO Jeff Leonard is sitting down to share how the reproduction car parts business and Classic Industries in particular have grown over the years.
Well, sometimes if I stop and look around and kind of take the time, smell the roses, so to speak, you end up thinking that how did you get here? And it's a very, interesting and fun thing that happened way back when.
Way back when was 1976. The Detroit native was living in Palm Springs and bought a 67 RS Camaro for $500. That Chevy needed new carpet.
A gentleman that I met in Santa Monica, actually, who had a upholstery trim shop. And I said, I've got this Camaro, can you make some carpet for it? He said, I can cut and sew it, and I've got a pattern for your floor pan, and I can make it work. I said, great. So I did it. I installed it. It came out really nice. I said, can you make more of these in different colors? No problem.
Soon, Jeff realized the need for more than just carpets.
Put an ad out in one of the small magazines at the time and just started getting calls. People were saying, well, I need a carpet set, but I need this too. I need an emblem. I need weather stripping. I need sheet metal, And over a period of time, you start to recognize that there's a need for these. At that time, Mustangs were becoming somewhat popular. They were built 3 years before the Camaro came out, or so. There seemed to be an industry springing up from that, so that's really what got me into it.
From there, Jeff went to work.
Went to GM, saw what was available through Chevrolet still, categorized everything, put it in a small little typed up pamphlet, and started mailing them out to people, and then kind of took off from there.
It wasn't long before Jeff's company, Classic Camaro, as it was known then, caught a break.
Hot Rod had done a special article on a Z28. I think it was a September 1980 issue, something like that. I could be off on the dates. But they put down a source, Classic Camaro, which was called at the time, as a source for parts. And I had a P.O. box, and that P.O. box was filled up to the brim every day for 3-4 months. And in fact, it was so full that at the post office, they said, well, we can't get it all in there. You're going to have to come in and pick up the rest of the mail inside the post office. So I was like, wow. So there was thousands and thousands of little, pieces of mail that came in. There were no computers, no internet, no digital anything. And you just had to sort of wing it, handwritten everything. So that was kind of tough.
After starting with a small facility in Palm Springs, computers made their way into his business.
We didn't really know what to do with them at the time. Early 80s, computers are great, but what do we do with it? Slowly, as programs started to appear that would allow us to, expedite things faster, we learned how to utilize it, and especially with catalog production. We were doing catalogs, colored catalogs, and people just weren't doing it in those days. It was too expensive.
Despite being a trailblazer in the industry, even Jeff was apprehensive in the early days of the internet.
It was a transitional period for everybody, really, not just for us, but we looked at it as it was sort of an information highway in the early days. You didn't see a lot of commerce going on necessarily. So that's where we sort of gravitated, well, let's get some information out there, put the company name, what we offer. And then slowly we developed a website. Initially, you're always skeptical because every time you take another step, you're always a little bit, is this going to pay off or not?
Now, as Classic Industries adjusts to the social media boom, Jeff continues to appreciate this wild ride.
Really indescribable, honestly. From those humble beginnings, very small investment, one product, and then going to what we have now is really mind-boggling, honestly. It's hard to comprehend and imagine, but we did it. Not me, but a group of people here that worked here over the years.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sir. It was a pleasure.
Appreciate your help, Nick. That was awesome, man.
I look forward to you guys coming back.
Damn, look at it, walking right out.
Myself and all the rest of the management people and people that work at Classic, that's who makes it happen.
And makes it happen for their customers, one of whom just happens to be Major League Baseball Hall of Famer and classic car collector Reggie Jackson.
Cars are probably more important to him than than baseball, but I shouldn't say that, but that's what I think though. He's a collector, and of course we manufacture a lot of parts and distribute them. He's been a customer for years and years. I've probably known him for maybe 20 plus years. Funny story, first time I met him, we were displaying at the SEMA show. We had a booth there, and he came over, and we had a Yanko Camaro on display, which was a pretty rare car. And he had looked at it and he said, I need a hood for my car. How much are they? I said, well, we sell them, we have a catalog. And he said, well, I'll trade you a bat for it. Okay, So I turned over to one of my guys and I said, what's Reggie's bat worth? And he said, at the time, this is 20 some years, he said, well, $300 maybe. I said, so I turned back and I said, how about 3 bats? Then we kind of became friends, But he did get a hood eventually.
Along with Mr. October, people come from all over the world to check out Classic Industries.
Europeans, Australians, Japanese, because we ship everywhere, we advertise all over the place. A lot of the consumers out there, wherever they are, if they come to California, they want to go to Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, and then here, we're happy to have them. We love them coming in. It means we're doing something right. It means that the people that are here are helping to perpetuate, the image, reputation, and those are really important things, not only to me but to everybody in the company. It's a sense of pride, huge sense of pride.
And that pride is tied to growth, thanks to partnerships with companies like Mopar, who have named and recognized Classic Industries as their biggest licensee of authentic restoration products.
There were very few companies in Mopar at the time we got into it, and we just saw a lot of opportunity. There was a lot of people looking for product that wasn't out there, wasn't available, and so we sort of formed a partnership with Chrysler and became a licensee for them and worked with them to come up with as many different parts that were in demand that we possibly could, and we're still doing it actually to this day. There's just, there's so many items to produce, and we try to choose the ones that are the most demanded items out there that people can't get. But we've been doing it for a lot of years now, so we feel like we've got a pretty good handle on it.
That's a good old-fashioned understatement. And oh yeah, Classic Industries has also recently entered the Ford market with their all-new Mustang catalog.
Well, I was looking at Ford for a lot of years. Wanted to get into the Mustang market because people are driving the cars, so there's always going to be a need for replacement parts for them. And we ended up purchasing a small Ford Mustang company, and then we expanded on that and put a catalog together and created a much bigger line than what they originally had. From there, we started looking at other Ford lines like Comet, Falcon, Ranchero, Ford trucks, Torinos, Galaxy, Fairlane. We just want to get into all of them now. Now we think that there's a definite need out there for that.
There's also a need for sending shipments quickly, which isn't always the case when ordering parts elsewhere.
A lot of our competitors don't stock everything. From just a consumer standpoint, if I want to buy something, I want to go to that place and get it. I want them to have it in stock. I don't want them necessarily to, well, we're going to get it in 3 weeks. Not everything we sell we have in stock. It's just impossible. But most everything that people want, though, items that sell and move pretty quick, we try to stock it. This company was really founded on the idea of just bringing parts to people. All the big three, Ford, Chrysler, GM, turned into something way larger than I ever expected or was looking for that matter. So really what drove it in some way was just the fact that the timing was good and people started getting interested in what we were doing.
After more than 4 decades in this industry, Jeff still gets pumped up to be a part of it.
What excites me, besides just the everyday enjoyment of being around this industry and the people, is being able to produce reproduction parts that people need that aren't available. That's my big thing. I really enjoy that because it's a lot of fun to take a component from a car, reverse engineer it, build a tool or a die, mold, whatever, make it right, make it perfect, and then bring it to the market. That to me is the best feeling, to be able to, sort of create that.
As for his legacy, Jeff gets straight to the nuts and bolts of it all.
Bringing the parts to people that make them happy, that give people joy, and that I had, a part of that. That would be a pretty good legacy for me. I don't expect much. I don't try to, put myself out there as someone who did some incredible thing. It's a great business. Certainly, I'm proud of it, but I don't, I don't wag my tail too much about it, because it's really, I think of it as just a business that goes from day to day, and we just try to keep improving what we're doing.
One carpet at a time. You can check out the Classic Industries storefront at 18460 Gothard Street in Huntington Beach, or on social media with the following links. Tell them Kevin Cuenca sent you. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you soon.
That's it right there. All right, man.
Thank you so much,
Hey,
bro.
thanks a lot.
Appreciate your help, man. Seriously.
Thank you.